Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today it's going to be a match between Scarlett and Maru here on Simulacrum. I can't say that right, you guys. Simulacrum. I've seen that the emphasis is on law, but that doesn't sound right to me, but whatever. Top left-hand corner is the red Zerg player, the Canadian Zerg player, Scarlett. And in the bottom right, her nemesis. It is the blue Terran player, Maru. These two players have had some incredible games over the years, including that one game that I cast with Simulacrum because it was so long and had like 87 nukes tossed down by Maru in it. And Scarlett lost all of her creep all the way up to her main base and then re-creeped it all the way down to Maru's base. It was one of the more insane, crazy games I've ever cast. So I'm casting this one because it's the same two players and it's a longer ZVT macro style game. It cannot live up to the hype of that previous one, but I'm hoping it does at least a little bit. This is from the Katowice 2019 qualifiers. So these were played in 2020 and, well, it's for the Katowice stuff. So ESL actually released these replays, which I don't know that we've gotten this. I'm not sure we've gotten these replays from WCS in the past. We've definitely gotten like the round of 24 stuff, but this is like round of 76, maybe even earlier than round of 76 stuff. So this is way early in the qualification process for Katowice. Way excited for this one. Somehow Maru and Scarlett found each other down here. And let's do this thing. This Reaper's name is Buzz Lightyear. No, we did that one. This one is Dick Tracy. Dick was a lonely sort, quiet, hard-bitten, with an obvious air of violence from his past. He went everywhere with a pair of pearl-handed .45 revolvers. Dick Tracy in a Reaper suit with 2 guns. Now, the Dick Tracy, at least the comic version of it, and by comics, I mean newspaper comic version of it, is really violent. I actually read a blog. Yes, this is a blog. I started reading it in like 2005. But it's called Josh Reads. JoshReads.com, I think is how you get there. Anyway, he reads the comics so you don't have to, and then expresses, well, when you figure out what's going on without having to read the comics. Anyway, that drone is really about to turn into an extractor. The delay on the third base is real by Maru right now, and I'm super impressed. Anyway, the whole point is that Dick Tracy is incredibly violent in the newspaper version. I'm not sure how violent he is in the non-newspaper version, but Reaper gets out with exactly 2 HP and 1 kill. Nicely done, Dick. And the third base is delayed. If you don't get your third base started, wow. I mean, why didn't she expand here? She really wants this base for some reason. Has the resources for it. There it goes. Reaper comes in just to make sure it is coming up because the 2-basing Zerg is much different from a 3-basing Zerg. Maru going into the traditional Hellions, as you do, throwing up a starport in the mix, so he's 1-1-1ing it. Lings are out. Speed is almost done. Scarlett really droning. This is one of those windows where you can drone, and not have to worry about much because the Overlord perching spot lets you know what's coming out of the front door. Terran and Protoss fans will be happy to hear that Blizzard has issued a directive to map makers. You don't have to have an Overlord perching spot in every one of your maps. There's nothing that they told the map makers as Dick Tracy goes down about having to have one of these on every one of your maps. So hopefully for Protoss and Terran, future maps will not have them as frequently, and as a result, Zerg won't have as much easy scouting as far as what comes out in and out of the front door. I mean, obviously, this doesn't give perfect vision of everything the Terran player is doing, but having this is real nice. You see the expansion, you can see the gases, and then you can get chased away. All right, there's reasons, there's ways that Protoss and Terran can chase these Overlords away. It's not that bad. And honestly, I'm surprised we don't see this kind of thing more. I guess maybe you're worried about Lings coming over and just ruining your Marines because, well, they're out and exposed. But I guess if you wait until your Hellions are done, you're going to be fine. So Roach Sworn coming in for Scarlett. Just a bit of some safety roaches here at about 42 workers. Should start a lair, and their gases are already coming up. So delaying lair a bit, but going for a bunch of gas. This is an interesting build. Is this feeling Roach Ravagery to you? This is feeling Roach Ravagery to me. As Maru is making a battle cruiser back home. He's got a fusion core. He's got a BC in production already. The Hellions aren't necessarily interested in just dive bombing in there, but killing tumors is something they're into, as you can't cancel those tumors anymore, which kind of sucks the pro level. But for me, it's like I'm not babysitting tumors that closely anyway. I throw down a tumor and I go back to injecting and come back 4 minutes later and inject again. That's how it works. I mean, it's not 4 minutes, but you know what I mean. It's a while. I have no interest in the creep tumors whatsoever once I toss them down. They are my babies. I lay them, and then they're done. So, let's see. How many queens do we have? The answer is 7. 7 queens throwing up spores. Going to be useful against the battlecruiser that is going to show up here and be annoying. 3rd CC on the way for Maru and done inside his wall. And we are macroing this thing up. So, roaches... If you went... I mean, if she went for a mass Roach Ravager style attack... like a traditional one, this build of Maru's actually just dies to it, because you don't have anything. Look at this. He's got a wall, he's got a couple Marines, and he's got a battlecruiser. A battlecruiser can't stop the massacre of all of the stuff. So here's the battlecruiser jump, and that queen getting transfused. Keeping queens alive is kind of the big deal here. This is how this works, and actually does manage to shove that away. These roaches on the other side of the map, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. If this was like 20 roaches and 10 ravagers, Maru's just dead. Both players are supply blocked, which is really annoying. The Hellions coming back to fight, and that's not what you want against roaches or Hellions, but you know what? If you have enough and you're microing properly, you might be okay. And actually dragging the battlecruiser all the way back home is this counterattack of Scarlett's. So she didn't lose any drones, right? No drones have been killed. She's at 60 workers right now. And once the battlecruiser comes in, that's it for these roaches. They're trying to kill as many units as they can, including SCVs. But they know they're dead. This hero roach dies with 3 kills, and that's about as much as you can ask for any roach in any game of StarCraft. Scarlett droning. Really oversaturated at our 3rd base, actually, but she hasn't taken her gases yet, so that will help even things out. She actually has an extractor here inside the main that she's not saturating at the moment. And Helio not quite able to get that creep tumor. I mean, honestly, a 4th base would be a good thing for Scarlett to get right now. She's got enough roaches and lings to hold off the Hellions. I don't think she should be worried about throwing down a hatch. Maybe she'll expand down this left side. That is, I don't know. I just like the creep spread up here, right? The creep, but this is where the Terran player expects the base to be. And by golly, they're right. So 4th base coming up for Scarlett at about 7 minutes. Feels late, but she did have to deal with the Hellion battlecruiser attack, and she did make a bunch of roaches try to get some stuff done on the other side too. So it's cool. I think it's fine. She's not behind or anything, although Maru's 3rd base is happily running, and he's at 64 workers and continuing to make battlecruisers. So Scarlett does have a Spire on the way. She's aware of the threat. I guess she knows there's 2 out, so yeah, the Spore is really important here. Keeping it alive, you'll notice that she transfused that Spore. It's because the Spore is super duper important. Now, you can just abuse the ability to fly into the high ground. Your queens are not in the main base to save anything. Everybody has to run, including these overlords. Thank goodness they have speed. Scarlett has corruptors in production, but they're not here yet. And it's going to be a bit before they are, so you have to get rid of these things without corruptors. Transfuse! Transfuse! Oh, the transfuses are sick. They're on points right now for Scarlett. And the battle cruisers are going to try to cancel the 4th base, if nothing else at this stage. 7 kills and 1 kill on these guys. And the corruptors show up, and that is your invitation to get out. Meanwhile, Ling's running into the 3rd, but there are battle cruisers here because of tactical jump, and there are Hellions, so that's not going to do too well. Banelings on these guys would be pretty good. Does she have a Baneling nest? No. Infestation pit. Roach Warren. Spire. So she's splitting up her tech structures, which is pretty smart. I'm okay with that. But doesn't have a Baneling nest, which I find very odd indeed. I guess maybe if Maru's going mech, which by golly he is, but the number of factories he has and the number of factories he is building. Maru going mech against Scarlett. Interesting, interesting play. Now, we've seen Raynor and Cyril handle this by players such as Cure and Innovation and just make them look silly. Just because Yoink is available on the, as these Lings roll on in, Yoink is available on the Vipers. So all you do is you make a bunch of Hydralisks and maybe some Roaches and Ravagers, and when the mech shows up, you yoink the tanks into the group of your units, they die. Yoink a Thor, die. Yoink another Thor, die. Yoink a tank, die. It's insta-kill every time you abduct. I have seen Zerg struggle against the strategy because they insist on going Roach Ravager, and Swarm Host. Look! Roach Ravager, Swarm Host from Scarlett. I don't buy the strategy, Scarlett. Not a huge fan of it. Eventually, there are enough Hellbats, and there are enough tanks, and there are enough Thors that the Swarm Host Locusts aren't doing a lot. And you have to... don't like it at all. She's expanding again. She probably should expand down here, too, honestly. At this stage of the game, Maru is not pushing out. He doesn't have enough. He's defending. He's really worried about attacks, expanding down in the bottom left. would honestly be a thing she could pull off expanding here. She could probably pull that off too, right? Where Cleaning Bot is trying to clean up this creep, which seems like a really awful job, actually. Like, trying to clean up creep seems like a real bad idea. Anyway, Cyclones in production, working on Magfield Accelerator. It did finish. As well as Infernal Pre-Igniter. This Nidus Form gonna die. The one up north, doing okay. Locusts going after SCVs, but again, yeah, 4 SCVs go down. And sure, it was just for Locusts, and the Locusts are free. I understand that. But I saw Rogue die to Innovation going mech. And I really want to assign that loss to Rogue because he went this strategy against it. It did cause a really long game, which is what we're looking at here. So this is almost identical. I think it was on a different map, but this is exactly what Rogue was doing against exactly what Maru was doing. Yeah, there's a little group of Hellions and Cyclones. There's a bunch of tanks. There's battle cruisers flying around. I mean, the battle cruisers, you have a jump? You do! Oh! Getting some Yamatos off before they all teleport and none of them die. Nice jump. Nice jumping by Maru, but what else do we expect from this guy, honestly? Creep spread by Scarlett is disgustingly good because she's one of the Zerg players that loves a good creep spread. You don't have to do this to win, obviously, but creep spread helps. This is what I'm talking about. Just your swarm hosts are useless for 41 seconds at a time. And then when the Locusts show up, the army just gets away. This is fast enough. This is a little race car mech group. They're fast enough to get on out. Maru does attempt to go for a 5th base at the 6 o'clock, but Ling shut that down at least temporarily. Another Knight is coming up right next to it, and this could be problematic in trying to save this for Maru. And again, that's what you got to do. You got to try to keep the Terran player down. You can't let them have 8 bases. Can't let them have this one to the top right. That is entirely exposed. Scarlett needs to have vision up there of what's happening and shut it down. And that's a force to lift at the very least. So the command center finishes, but it gets lifted, which is annoying. And then the Cyclones come in, and then the Swarm hosts are ready to rock. So they toss the Locust and escape because that's what they got to do. Maru is clearing creep quite nicely. We do have a Baneling nest, but Centrifugal Hooks isn't done yet, which means these Banelings will accomplish approximately 0 things, and they do. Yeah, once you have tanks in good numbers and the Blue Flame Hellbats, and look, we're going for a Greater Spire. I don't like that against this mech either. It's just too fast. This is exactly what Rogue did. I have not watched this game. I don't know who wins it, but I'm telling you, this is a carbon copy of a game that I saw with Rogue and Innovation just recently out on africatv.com/laughinggames, and it went super poorly for the Zerg player Rogue, who is really good. Who won BlizzCon? Wait, I get Dark and Rogue confused. Did Rogue win BlizzCon? Ah, it's embarrassing. La 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 la. Doing the Googles while casting. It's everyone's favorite thing. Oh, these swarm hosts are stuck. They gotta run. At least they're on creep. That's nice. So they can run away. If they're off creep, I don't think they could run away fast enough. Okay, so it was dark. Okay. Anyway, the point is, Rogue is a really good player, and he went for the strategy against an elite Terran player in Innovation. It did not go well for him. Maru, despite the fact that he's not performing super well recently, at least is still considered an elite Terran player, one of the 4 horsemen, and somebody you have to take incredibly seriously. Now, okay, so we do have some infestors out. Fungal is incredibly useful against this really fast army because it slows them down enough, especially on creep, to wipe them out. The spellcasters are key, and Scarlett is starting to use them. I'm liking it very much. He's going for Neural. Nice Fungal. Oh my gosh, that was a beautiful Fungal. That group is largely dead now. I'm not sure what Maru can do without replacing those units. But Maru has successfully expanded to pretty much everything on his side of the map. He's got 6 bases happily running on 84 workers, working on 3-3 for his mech. Missile attack, level 3 coming in for Scarlett. Corruptor Ball is not huge. Again, this is not mass anything. This is not mass Infestor. This isn't mass Ravager or Corruptor. This is a good mix of everything. And they're trying to take down this planetary, but the repair is pretty good. Not good enough. That was not a great setup there. Meanwhile, Cyclone's going to snipe a hatch at the north side, because that's what you do. That's what you got to do when you're a race car mech, is race around the map, killing things, running from confrontation, and lock on at hitting everything that comes to try to kill you as you run away. So Maru losing that base is a bigger deal, I think, than Scarlett losing this one. Although this bottom left base that Scarlett's trying to take is probably going to die to battle cruisers now too, because Scarlett's army's on the wrong side of the map. So both races are pretty capable of attacking where their opponent is not. Nidus Worm's going to be part of it here for Scarlett, but just the sheer speed of battle cruisers and Cyclones and Hellions are the other part of it here too. Kind of chain fungling down these Cyclones, and the Cyclone count is falling a lot, actually. These battle cruisers are unopposed, and therefore they will continue their rampage up the left side of the map. When the Corruptors show up, they just get out. They could probably Yamato while they're at it. And look, they can jump to a place where they can help defend. Battle cruiser, good unit. Where do these Locusts go? Why aren't they attacking? Ah! Scarlett lost a chance. Lost a big chance there. Oh, gosh. Get the Nidus Worm. Did you kill the Nidus Worm fast enough? I guess a couple Swarm Hosts died. That's a pretty big deal. So resources lost 16,000 for Scarlett, 14,000 for Maru. Tech about even, which is just upgrades and static defense. Both players are doing pretty much the same on all of those. And Ling's not a bad answer, but when the Hellbat transformation comes, you kind of got to get out. Oh, Neural Parasite. Neural. Fungal. Neural. There we go. Neural is good. That is one thing that Rogue did not do. He did not have the spellcasters. Oh, but taking down the Infestors with a sneak attack from Cyclones. All the Infestors die. All the battle cruisers die, though. Is that a good trade? Probably. I think Scarlett would make that trade again. Maru can't feel happy about losing all of his BCs, though. All of them are dead. He's got 3 tanks, 15 Cyclones, and 5 Hellbats right now. Not a huge army, but Scarlett doesn't have much either. Again, other than these Locusts, which you can just run away from. Especially if you're on the attack. Blue Flame Hellions getting into the 12 o'clock base for Scarlett. Going to roast up a ton of these drones. The burrow is done, but scan is a thing. And some more drones are going to die. They're forced to flee, even though they were burrowed and thought themselves safe. And the Hellbats are out. Yeah, man, catching some Swarm Hosts out in the open here, murdering them before they can get to the safety of the Nidus. The race car mech getting on in, and, well, another hatchery down. That's how this works. With the race car mech is another hatchery down, is what you say a lot. No Vipers, man. I'm telling you, Vipers right now are sort of the key to ZVT. Abduct is an incredibly stupidly good spell. I see Terran players complaining about it all the time in the comments of my videos, which means it's good. Is when people are balance whining about something that much, it means there's a problem. And that means it's a good thing. I mean, the question that I always ask is, well, without Abduct, Zerg just dies to mass Thor. There's nothing else they can do about it. So how do you help that? And there have been some good suggestions, actually, from Terran players on the channel, so I appreciate that. But Scarlett's in trouble, suddenly. This race car mech army is wiping out Swarm Hosts like crazy. The Locusts are trying to get on here. They're doing some work. But the Blue Flame Hellbats are roasting them pretty quick, too. Nice Corrosive Vials. I think Scarlett's barely going to be able to hold on here. Banelings. Oh, okay, I guess got one of the Cyclones. That's cool. And then standing and fighting against Locusts is not good. So the hatch lives, which is great. This hatch is getting replanted, which is nice, too. This base of Maru's is in trouble and forces a liftoff, but immediately lands as Maru's army is ready to reclaim it. So this has been as exciting a game as I was expecting here. We're 19 minutes in, and no one is really close to dying yet. Broodlords, I do not support Broodlords. I know Broodlords are good. I don't support them here when the army is fast and zippy as Cyclones and Hellions are. I have cast many a game against Race Car Mech where Zerg has gone Broodlords, and it has not gone well for them, and they've lost the match. So I don't support the strategy at all. You pretty much just go where the Broodlords are not. Make some Vikings, make some Thors. That's what Maru's working on. This base has to lift. That's annoying, but not game-ending. Another Knight is coming up, instantly going to die. I mean, okay, maybe 2 seconds. Another base here from Maru is lifting. Bottom left hand is getting long distance mine from Scarlett. Broodlords coming into the top right hand base. And yes, Broodlords are good at sieging, but defensively they're terrible. So if you want to try to kill some bases on the other side of the map, great. Your Broodlords are going to do it, but you can't do anything about these guys. And your hatchery's dead. So you're just trading bases right now with Maru. At this stage, we're looking at 1 command center down, 2 planetaries for 2 hatcheries, which seems like a fair trade. Now the Vikings show up, and the Broodlords are entirely undefended, and they don't have a tactical jump ability, so they're going to have to fly very slowly back home. Engagement in the middle of the map. Lings and Banelings are just so good against this. I do like Lings and Banes, especially on creep, especially with the support of Infestors and Fungal Growth. Maybe don't just go entirely Ling Bane, though, because off creep, you're not actually fast enough to catch up with that army. So a couple of Broodlords die, but they do make it safely back to the home of their base, where they have a little bit of static defense, at least, in the form of this 1 Spore. Zergling. No. Kill. Oh, she sent it into Burrow to see when the base comes back. And the Thors are trying to take down as many of these Locusts in the sky as they can. Thors are damaged, but still alive. I can't believe she's not using... All right, well, Vikings are like, you know what? I don't care about your anti-air anymore. You don't have much of it. Let's kill as many of these Broodlords as possible. These Broodlords are so darn expensive, too. This is what I'm talking about. Broodlord count is down to like 3. The Thors come in. They can actually outrange the Broodlords, and they do bonus damage versus them. And look at the Broodlords die. Look at them die to Thors. This is what happens when you try to go Broodlord against Thors without the support of Vipers or Infestors or anything. Is the Broodlords all die. And that is your good game, and Maru wins. Man, I don't want to be like a I told you so kind of a dude, but boy, howdy. That went exactly like I thought it would. Scarlett just did not have the ability to hang. The army was too fast. Broodlords was not the answer. The Vikings were a perfect answer. Thors were really good too. Obviously, they were incredible. But at the end of the day, no Vipers. No Vipers at all. The current meta of StarCraft is you must go Vipers. You must abduct things. You must even... Just abducting Cyclones is a good way to keep the Cyclone count down. Abduct. The Swarm hosts, I don't know, they did okay. I mean, Maru did end up losing, what? Again, the 2 planetaries and the 1 command center, and had to lift a couple bases from time to time. Like this one, but that's a planetary now, and this one's also a planetary. So it's just too many bases. And Scarlett was forced to tap out. Resources lost, 46,000 for Scarlett, 37 lost for Maru. And he just showed that he still got it. He still can play this very interesting kind of... It's a hybrid mech style. It's not entirely race car mech, but it's not entirely traditional mech either. You got the tanks, you got the Cyclones and the Hellions, you got battle cruisers running around too. He did not replace the battle cruisers when they died, obviously. But I think that's fine. Obviously, he won without them, so everything was totally awesome. Yeah, the Storm Host didn't do enough. 22 of them died, which is a crazy amount of resources. 11 Broodlords went down, which is another crazy amount. 12 Nidusworms fell. Yeah. This is really, really great game, but again, it's just it looks entirely different if Vipers exist. So, fantastic job by Maru getting that win, just doing what it takes against Zerg these days. And that's going to be it from me. So, this has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.